as Africans, we are always recipients of garbage. We just receive because we wanted free aid, free donation. At this time, we are not accepting this. We've seen... Hi guys, it's lilymutamztv, also known as Guinea Pigs. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and wanting to hear what I have to say. Based on the title, you know what I'm about to talk about. I'm talking about what's going on around the world, and that's the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit the whole world. I mean, we are on standstill at the moment. Businesses have been affected. So many projects, travels have been disturbed because of the pandemic, which we've been all surprised as to how quickly it has just gone through the world. I know there's loads of conspiracy theories out there talking about this and that as to how the Chinese want to use this as a weapon against the Western world in order for their economy to improve more and for the world to rely on them. Because obviously after the coronavirus has spread through the whole world, the Chinese have even created more than 8,000 businesses just to provide face masks. I mean, it's like they've been ready for this type of business. But that's not what I want to talk about. I'm here to talk about the vaccines that are proposed to be tested in Africa. I've been a little bit busy, so I was planning to do this video, but I thought, let me still do it and just air my views. I'm from Zambia myself, and in Zambia, for example, we've only had one death, and up to date, we only have about 35 cases, of which about 17 of those cases are clear of the coronavirus. And those people that came into the country with the coronavirus are the ones who brought the coronavirus to Zambia. Basically, like, the coronavirus came in from people who traveled abroad, like France, India, I believe. So social media went crazy a few days ago when the French were discussing that they wanted to test the vaccines of coronavirus into Africa. They want to use Africa as, we are the guinea pigs. Africans are guinea pigs. Any medication that is out there, they use Africa to test, because our African leaders are so selfish and corrupt. They don't care about improving the systems in Africa in order for us to be self-empowered, but rather they've usually depended on the Western world to donate vaccines, to donate foods, to donate whatever that needs to be donated, and yet Africa is wealthy. And the people who've obviously benefited is not us, it's usually our leaders. They strike the deals. They make the decisions. We don't have a human rights. We are Africans. We can just be played on by anybody. But thanks to social media and the way things have changed, we can communicate via social media and say our voice out there and declare that we do not want to be guinea pigs. I watched a program some time ago of Zambia when they were showing somebody who had HIV and AIDS and was taking the HIV drugs, and the man, this is a man, he was growing breasts. How can a man grow breasts if this person is simply taking the medication to help suppress their HIV in the blood, to help support the immune system, to boost their immune system? It's because they keep sending experimental export drugs to Africa. And because we want to receive them and it's free, our governments cannot even fund these drugs for us. They cannot even pick for us. They just accept whatever donor aids is available. They just accept the drugs without even knowing. So the coronavirus, Africa hasn't been affected as much, except obviously South Africa. And I understand why South Africa is really affected. It's because, first of all, South Africa had allowed their citizens that were in China to fly back to South Africa in the midst of the pandemic. And then South Africa is like the center as well for connecting flights. So when people are flying to Australia or any other place, America, there's no direct flight, for example, from Zambia to the UK. So those who use South African Airways have to go to South Africa first and then fly to whatever destination. So South Africa has been hit badly. But even at that, they don't have as many cases compared to the UK, where we've reached more than 6,000 deaths. We have reached more than 8,000 deaths as well in America. So many cases. In America has more than 400,000 cases of the coronavirus. Which is the best place to test this virus? Is it testing Africa, where, for example, Zambia only has 1 death and 35 cases, or a place where there's 400,000 cases? Of course, it's a place where there's 400,000 cases. But guess what? The French now decide, in fact, even in France, there's a lot of cases of coronavirus. Italy, Spain, we've heard Italy having more deaths in Europe, and now UK surpassing the figure of Italy. But you can imagine, there's more deaths in Europe, and then the French, they surpass UK, they surpass Germany, they surpass all these countries, and then they say they want to test in Africa. And then there's something else that you haven't heard of unless you live in Germany. I've got Germany subscribers who send me videos. The reason why I don't want to show those videos is because I don't want to get a copyright strike, especially if it's from newspapers. I just don't want to be in trouble. But you see, they were telling me that they were listening to an interview of the Germans. It was in German, practically saying that they are planning to donate testing kits to Africa. They are planning to help Africa with the coronavirus. And yet in Germany, the virus is vast. There's nothing like helping Africa or helping this country. This time of corona is for each country to cut their own borders, be independent, and to work on the methods that will help the citizens of the people that are there, or the people that are there presently, whether you're a citizen or not. But you deserve the treatment because you are in that country. I'll give you an example in the UK. For example, we've had 4 medical doctors. None of them are British born and bred, they're all foreign doctors, and they've all died in the front line trying to help these people who have the coronavirus. Now, if the doctors in the UK have died whilst trying to save lives, how sure are we that the drugs that they want to send to Africa will be able to save lives? I'm having something a bit fishy here. It sounds a bit fishy here. I'm having a funny feeling that it's like they are trying to inject us with this virus. It's like they're trying to inject us with an antidote which can react later. And when it reacts later, we will be affected badly because we were an experiment of the coronavirus injection or whatever vaccine. So as African leaders, as Africans, we say no to these vaccines. We don't need any vaccines from anywhere. And then I've been impressed as well. In Zambia, in Ghana, in other parts of Africa, the indigenous people of those countries are even making their own face masks. Like in Zambia, for example, this is our mayor, Mao Sampa, Lusaka City Mayor. He posted this image. Our mayor, Mao Sampa, posted this image stating that a lady in Zambia is making these face masks with our flag of Zambia. It's a great improvement, right? Than us waiting for testing kits, waiting for face masks to come from China. We've seen videos on social media, on WhatsApp, of people who are making face masks. Some of them are even wiping their faces, they're stepping on the face masks. They don't even care how these face masks are looked after. And then we as Africans, we are always recipients of garbage. We just receive because we wanted free aid, free donation. At this time, we are not accepting this. We've seen people like Drogba, we've seen people like other footballers, celebrities talk about the vaccines and say, no, we don't need these vaccines in Africa because we are not a stepping ground. We are not an experimental ground. We're not guinea pigs. I mean, if you want to try these vaccines, why don't you try it on animals? I know there are people who are against animal testing, but we are not guinea pigs. We are human beings. African lives matter. Our lives matter. Just because we are black, just because we are poor, does not mean we just accept anything. Even during this time of the coronavirus, the African leaders now have been exposed with their lack of preparation. Some African leaders who've never even thought about improving the hospital facilities of our African people, improving the status of our hospitals, getting the best equipment, getting the best doctors. This is a time when they've been exposed. And now you see, this is where all these donor aids come in, and they'll give you conditions. If you want us to donate these face masks, we are asking to experiment these vaccines on your people. And as gullible as we are as Africans, we accept anything. It is sad to see how even those in the front line in the UK, nurses, have lost their lives trying to serve lives of coronavirus patients. Coronavirus is not a joke. It's a deadly disease. It's a weapon. I call it a weapon because there's no way, just touching somebody, you can be infected if you eat something. It's not even something that I would even wish for an enemy. It's something that is so deadly. So we say no to these vaccines. I refuse for my people in Africa to be an experiment. I refuse for African leaders to accept such type of experimental drugs. I refuse for us Africans to be seen as guinea pigs for all these years. We have a voice and we have our rights as Africans. We cannot be taken advantage of for all these years and for people to just do whatever they like because they feel Africa is a ground where they can experiment. Start by experimenting with the French people. Are you saying the French people's lives are more important than us black people? And then there's a video as well that I watched where some people were discussing. These are discussions. They've been having discussions, conferences, and they were talking about how they want to eliminate the black race in Africa, eliminate Africans because they want to take over the resources. But you know what? God is bigger than all their plans. That is why their plans have failed. They've tried to send this vaccine and that vaccine to try and destroy us, but it's not working. They've tried to send whatever diseases, Ebola. I don't even know how Ebola started, but it sounds like a hoax. They've tried to send Ebola to our country, but look, God is bigger. He has served us. He has protected us, and no plan of the enemy will prosper. I watched a video of Prophet Makandiwa where he was just saying that he would rather die than accept to be vaccinated because it is a mark of the beast. I don't know what you think about that. You tell me in the comment section below. But personally, I wouldn't accept it because if they have failed to find the cure of the coronavirus, then why should they experiment on Africans? The whole world is overwhelmed. So let's not look at how we can experiment on this black people, these Africans, because they are poor, they are nothing. Africa is a dark continent. No, but rather let's look for solutions for your own country. your own border, as we have closed borders wherever you are. Let's talk about within. How are we going to serve people in this country from having this virus, and how can we protect others from not getting this virus in the future? So how will the prevention work? What vaccine can we come up with? What medical facilities can we come up with, and not trying to experiment on Africa? And then I've also watched a video where the federal government in America are trying to arrest, I believe he's been arrested, an American professor who works at Harvard University. Apparently he's working with the Chinese government to inject most people in America with the coronavirus. I mean, America has huge numbers, 400,000. I know America is big, and America is also a place where people visit. And I also watched another program called 60 Minutes with Australia, and 60 Minutes Australia, something like that. Yeah, and this presenter was talking about how when the Chinese had their New Year, instead of the government stopping them from traveling out, they allowed them. And Chinese are many, so they travel to all parts of the world, and America was one of the places, and America has been affected so badly. May the souls of those who've been affected during the coronavirus rest in peace. We have lost a great veteran from Nigeria, an African doctor that actually had retired, 68 years old man, but then he was called to the front line. A lot of retired medical professionals have been asked to support, to help during this overwhelming dealing with the coronavirus. It's so overwhelming. Even the World Health Organization has declined that testing suggestion by other leaders or experimental doctors. It's not fair that Africa should be used as a testing ground. We refuse to be guinea pigs. It's a girl, lilymutamztv, also known as Guinea. See you in my next video.
Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button, and follow me on all social media platforms. It's simply at lilymutamztv.